Rick Santorum, who has ran a failed presidential campaign, has made a comment that is one of the most dumb and common right-wing talking points in terms of attacking Obamacare, but let's call it the Affordable Care Act. And so here is what Rick Santorum asserted. He said, millions of Americans with pre-existing conditions are scammers stealing healthcare. Okay, so this idea that people with pre-existing conditions are now stealing healthcare under the current system is obscene. I've never heard of it. I don't understand how you could do it, but he goes on to explain. Here's what I'm going to say. CNN contributor Rick Santorum suggested on Sunday that it was a mistake to guarantee healthcare coverage for people with pre-existing conditions because millions of them were scamming insurance companies. You have to guarantee, first of all, let's just get this out of the way. You have to guarantee health insurance because if the healthcare insurance companies can completely refuse to give you the care, even if you have enough money, and if you remember back to the Bernie Sanders town hall, or not Bernie Sanders, sorry, Paul Ryan town hall, the guy said it. He was like, I had double the amount, and they refused to give it. So, if you allow them to do that, then it is impossible for the person to get care, and it is a guaranteed death. No more guaranteed healthcare. It's the vast opposite. It is guaranteed death, and that's what I'm concerned with, okay? Not with the massive insurance companies that are jacking up the premium rates extremely high for middle-class Americans. So here's what they go on. They say, during a panel discussion about healthcare reform, Santorum argued that President Barack Obama's healthcare reform law damaged the healthcare system to the point that the Republicans' lawmakers could not repeal and replace it at the same time. That's one of the biggest excuses possible. I don't know where the logic comes from that, but just tell me what you would replace it with. I'm waiting, dude. Like, it's an easy excuse to say we can't do it at the same time when you don't even have anything to replace it with. That's why you're not replacing it. That's why you're saying that, is because you have nothing to replace it with. Pre-existing conditions, though it's very popular, I don't know what he means exactly by that. I'm assuming he means by the provision of Obamacare pre-existing condition, because everyday Americans, including Republicans, wouldn't be able to get health care. So that's why a vast majority agree with it, because they can't get health care either. This is an issue for the American people, for the 99%, the 98%, not for, these rich guys and whatnot. What the reality is today that thousands, maybe approaching millions of Americans are paying 9 months for insurance. Why? Because you pay for your insurance for 9 months. There's a provision in Obamacare that says you can't be thrown off your plan for 3 months. Wow, dude. So he goes on to explain that. So this guy is claiming that millions of Americans are scamming the healthcare insurance companies who jack prices massively on simple things that like tissue boxes and all this shit, and make the premiums like crazy. All of these different things, right, that jack the prices up to a ridiculous rate because they can. It's an individual mandate. There's no control over that. So he's trying to assert that now all the American people, or millions of Americans, millions, keep that number in mind, millions, are somehow so fiendish that they are scamming the healthcare insurance companies who have found ways to jack up the prices regardless of no checks at all. They don't give a shit. You're trying to tell me that the people who couldn't get health care are now scamming the companies who would not only not allow them before, but now can jack the premium prices up as much as they want. It doesn't make any sense. But here's the important part, and they say it here. They say, Santorum, however, offered no evidence that millions of Americans were using Obamacare's protections for people with pre-existing conditions to scam healthcare insurance companies. And that's the important note, and I'm going to end it here. I'm going to say it's a projection, not a statistic, and to say that millions of Americans are scamming the healthcare insurance companies is utterly bullshit.